The Redmi 9 is the latest budget smartphone from Xiaomi, and this is actually a slightly tweaked version of the Redmi 9C that is sold in some other countries. Now, you shouldn't confuse this model with the global version of the Redmi 9, which is actually sold as the Redmi 9 Prime in India. So, with a starting price of 8,999 rupees, it's time to see if you should buy this or maybe pick one of its competitors in the same price segment. Hi, I'm Royden and you're watching Gadgets 360, and this is my review of the Redmi 9. Now, before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and also hit that bell icon so you're the first to know whenever we have a new video. The Redmi 9 is fairly tall and wide, which is something I immediately noticed when trying to use it with one hand. Thankfully, it doesn't feel too thick or heavy, even though it measures around 9mm and weighs around 194 grams. Now, it's disappointing to see that Xiaomi has gone back to a micro USB port here, considering this phone's predecessor, the Redmi 8, had a USB Type-C port. A single plastic mold forms the side and the back panel, which lends the Redmi 9 a nice unibody feel. The quality of plastics used here is good and the phone feels very sturdy. There's a circular indent for the fingerprint sensor, which is a little smaller than usual, but it worked well in my experience. There's also face recognition, which unfortunately wasn't very quick. The Redmi 9 has a 6.53-inch IPS HD+ display with a 720 by 1600 pixel resolution. Now, I found the viewing angles and colors to be pretty good, certainly better than those of the Realme C12 and C15, which I also recently tested. The Redmi 9 is powered by a MediaTek Helio G35 SoC, the same one used by the Realme C12 and C15. Now, there are two variants of the Redmi 9, both with 4GB of RAM, but you can choose between two storage options, 64GB and 128GB. The Redmi 8 had wireless FM radio, which worked without needing a headset, but unfortunately you need a headset to use the FM radio on the Redmi 9, and you don't get one in the box. Performance is decent, keeping in mind the budget nature of this phone. The Redmi 9 runs on MIUI 12, which is based on Android 10. Now, there's some noticeable stutter in the animations, and there was some delay in opening apps or system menus at times right from the get-go. Gaming performance was a bit weak, except for simple titles which did okay. Games such as Grand Mountain ran well, but heavier ones such as Asphalt 9 Legends struggled to run at smooth frame rates. Videos looked alright on the phone's display, and the bottom firing speaker did get quite loud. MIUI 12 looks nice and is just as functional as the previous version. However, the stock apps are riddled with ads, and every now and then these tend to spam the notification shade with unsolicited alerts. Now, there are also a bunch of pre-installed apps which clog up with the home screen, but thankfully most of these can be uninstalled. Now, the Redmi 9 delivered a more than satisfactory battery life in my experience. I was easily able to go about a day and a half or even longer in some cases on a single charge of the 5000 mAh battery. In our HD video loop test, the Redmi 9 ran for 18 hours and 44 minutes, which is a very good time. However, charging this large battery takes a while. Even after an hour with the bundled 10-watt charger, the Redmi 9's battery only got up to 40%. And this phone doesn't support fast charging, which is a little disappointing. In terms of optics, the Redmi 9 has a fairly modest setup. You get a 5-megapixel selfie camera and a 13-megapixel primary rear camera, along with a 2-megapixel depth sensor. Image quality is fairly average when shooting in daylight. HDR is handled decently well, but finer textures and landscape shots tend to look grainy when you zoom in. Close-ups fared a bit better, but exposure wasn't always up to the mark. The autofocus speed was decent but not great. Portrait mode worked fairly well even for objects. The Redmi 9 really struggled in low light. It took a while to lock focus even with close-up objects. Details were generally weak when shooting at night. The camera AI tries to boost the exposure here, but there's no dedicated night mode to use. The Redmi 9 can produce usable selfies during the day, but struggle to deliver good enough results in low light. Video quality was also strictly average when shooting in daytime. Now, you can shoot up to 1080p footage, but it's not stabilized. There's quite a bit of focus hunting when shooting videos, and as expected, the quality is very poor in low light. The Redmi 9 competes with many budget phones at its starting price of 8,999 rupees, but it's a bit of a hard sell when you have phones such as the Realme Narzo 10A, which offers better hardware for roughly the same amount of money. The 128GB storage variant of the Redmi 9 is an even tougher sell at almost 10,000 rupees, since it competes directly with the Redmi 9 Prime, which offers vastly superior performance and specifications at the same price. Now, unfortunately, I don't think the Redmi 9 has any singular standout feature that it can lean on in order to differentiate itself and also command this high price. Now, had this been priced a little lower, it would have been a decent option. But considering the recent price increase across the smartphone industry and also the cutbacks that Xiaomi seems to have made even when compared to the Redmi 8, I think you're better off with some other alternatives instead of the Redmi 9 at its current price. So thanks for watching. This was my review. Let me know what you think about this phone in the comments below. And as always, for everything tech, log on at gadgets360.com.